Hi everyone, my name is C. Today I'm going to be doing a quick no-spoiler book review for The House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune. So this is a standalone fantasy, and this book follows the very by-the-book, very rule follower Linus Baker. He is a social worker or a caseworker for magical children. So what he does is he goes to these orphanages that are for magical children, and he inspects them, makes them sure they're being kept up to par, make sure the children are safe, and just make sure in general the orphanage is up and running. Linus's life is pretty normal. He has his cat, he goes to work, he comes home. He doesn't do a whole lot else. That is until he is asked by upper management to go to this house that is an orphanage that is out on this island and to make sure it is up and running. He is told that the children of this island are dangerous and extremely classified, and they are trusting him to look at it because he always gives very thorough reports and they know he won't leave anything out. He ends up meeting all of the children and goes for this next month inspecting how safe they are on this island, as well as speaking with the master of the house named Arthur. I loved this book. It was so precious to read. The story really tackles prejudice and acceptance and self-love and family. It has the most wonderful, lovely found family aspect to it that I just could not get enough of. This book also has LGBT representation that's written by a queer author, which is great. There is a very sweet, light, fluffy romance in it, not too heavy-handed on the romance, which I liked. It's just whimsical. It feels like a cup of chicken soup. Like, it's like very whimsical, very calm, very happy. The drama that happens in it isn't super over the top. There are no scary moments in here. There are no overly intense moments in here. It's just whimsical and heartwarming and fun. And there's a lot of funny moments too. There are a lot of little one-off lines that are very sweet and funny. I enjoyed it a lot. The characters in this book are fantastic. Each of the children that we follow are so well thought out. They are so true to character. I think that TJ Klune did such a great job writing children. The kids at the orphanage range from, I believe, 6 to like 14, I want to say, and he writes that age range so perfectly. The interactions they have with each other are precious. They all have their own different friendships, their own styles of viewing the world. This book talks a lot about the ways that like children will rile each other up and will kind of influence each other in a way. It's so precious. Also, Linus is such a wonderful character. Arthur is such a wonderful character. There is a woman who lives on the island as well named Zoe, who is just hilarious, who I like so much. This book also talks a lot about like how sometimes we can get so stuck in a routine that we like don't see when the routine isn't working for us anymore. And it talks a lot about the ways that sometimes we have to step out of what we're comfortable in to find what we should really be doing with our lives. I will say this book was pretty predictable. The dramas that happened, the way it ended, you kind of know when you start the book how all that's going to go. However, I don't know if it's necessarily a bad thing. I think that the reason it's so predictable is because of the fact that the characters are written so true to themselves that there's no other way you could really see the story going. Tonally, it is very consistent throughout. The characters have great growth, especially Linus. You really see him have a wonderful character arc. So even though it is a little predictable, I don't think it's necessarily predictable in a bad way. Another thing I could see some people not loving about this book is that the message or the like take home with this was definitely very heavy-handed. The message of prejudice and of acceptance was definitely very after school special-y in a way. Like, it was definitely very spoon-fed to the reader. I didn't have a problem with it. I thought it was really sweet and fit within the like kind of fable story that this is telling. But the message is very strong. This book does not have a ton of subtext to it. It is very straightforward on what it wants you to think about the world, about how the children are treated, and about how we can compare that to the real world that we live in. I also do just wish there was more of this book. Like, I really enjoyed this book a lot. By the end of it, it had a wonderful ending and it wrapped up very nicely. However, if there was another book coming out, you know I would read it, like, immediately. I am not a big rereader in books, but this is a book that I am, like, thinking of rereading at some point because it's just so wonderful. It's so heartwarming. Again, really enjoyed it. The other thing I liked was that while it is a fantasy, it does not feel like a super hard to understand fantasy. So if you're someone who's like, I'm worried about having to go in and like learn a magic system and like all that, don't worry about it. Like, this book to me is a fantasy that reads like a contemporary. It's very easy to fly through. The pacing is really good. It's very quick. There's not a ton that you have to like really look into to understand. It's just all kind of given to you, which is nice. It also kind of reminds me of, if you've ever listened to the podcast Welcome to Night Vale, it reminds me of that a little bit, of just being kind of quirky and fun and silly at times. Overall, I really enjoyed this book, and I would recommend it to anyone who is looking for a whimsical, fantastical, sweet, heartwarming story about found family. I think you definitely enjoy it. I hope you all enjoyed this quick no spoiler review. If you enjoyed my video, please go ahead and give it a like and also subscribe to my channel. In the links below, I have my Instagram. I also have my Goodreads. I run a virtual weekly write-in called the Writer's Zoom, so if you'd like to check that out, that is linked below as well. I hope you're all having a great day and a very good week, and I will see you all soon in another video. Bye!